We are live. So, hello and welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this very special day. My name is Meryl Herr, and I serve as the Director of Research and Resources at the Max Dupree Center for Leadership at Fuller Seminary. And today I'm joined by our Executive Director, Michaela O'Donnell. Michaela, give us a wave, and our good friend, Lisa Pratt Slayton. Hi, Lisa, whose new book, Life in Flux, Navigational Skills to Guide and Ground You in an Ever-Changing World, hits shelves today. So Michaela and Lisa, a big hearty congratulations from us at the Dupree Center. For me personally, what an exciting day. So I'm curious, Lisa, tell us, what are you feeling in this moment on launch day?
Boy, and quite a few things actually. It's a plethora of emotions this morning. There's a little bit of nervousness, it's a little bit of vulnerability. It feels kind of exposing to put your work out in the world. I'm glad I have a partner that's locked arms with me to do this together. Makes it a little easier, but mostly I'm excited and energized by the book coming into the world. I really believe, and we'll talk about this more in a minute, that this is going to help people. And at the end of the day, that's what we really want, is to provide something that will serve people well. And I hope we've accomplished some of that. So I'm mostly just really energized and excited about it.
That's great. Michaela, what about you? What are you feeling today?
Yeah, I think the it's easy on a day like today where we have the privilege of our inbox filling up with congratulations and people who are rooting for us. It's easy to feel kind of like, where's the wall? Where's the ground? And so for me, two things are sticking out. The first feeling is gratitude. I feel an immense amount of gratitude. Putting a book in the world is a team sport. Everybody at Baker Books, Greg, my agent, the Dupree team is just phenomenal and has been like, just hitting it at every point. And then to Lisa's point, like it's really something to do something with somebody. And that makes it, I think, harder but better, better and harder. So I'm feeling just a lot of gratitude. And of course, friends, family, all those people, like, thank you so much for your support. It really is quite steadying. So gratitude. And then the second thing I feel is, gosh, and Meryl, you've been doing some research for us at Dupree Center on this, so you can like later tell me if my like way of talking about it needs to change. But I feel joy. My son, who's 5 years old, grabbed my hand this morning and he said, "Look, Mom, come out here. We made you a table." And it was like a table full of like confetti. And in my head, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to clean it up later." And then I was like, "Settle." And he's like, "Mom, the chair with the most sparkles is for you.
Oh,
And like you sit in the chair with the sparkles." And I'm like, yeah, like there is just like joy in bringing something into the world that, like Lisa said, we actually think is really going to be good for people and help them. So gratitude and joy.
Awesome. Yeah, I can definitely resonate with all of those. The energy, the joy, the gratitude, those all make perfect sense on such a momentous occasion. So, Michaela, give us a little bit of an overview of what we can find, what we can expect to read about in the book.
Yeah, great question. I'll try to keep it brief, just to sort of high level here. In both Lisa and I's work, Lisa as a coach and consultant and leader for 25 plus years, me in the Dupree Center as a practical theologian, in our research and in the cohorts we've designed, in our collective work, we have noticed something that a author, Bruce Feiler, says quite well. He says, and this is based on data, that at least here in the US, adults undergo pretty significant life transitions every 12 to 18 months. Okay. A handful of times in our life, like you got really big ones, like, okay, I got married or I got divorced or I retired or I moved to a new place. But then there's all the other ones that are happening. And what that basically means is at any given time, we're either going into, right in the middle of, or coming out of flux. And it is very tempting. And I think by and large, culture builds into us some instinctive responses in the midst of all that flux that say, go harder, go faster, like make our way through this, get to the other side, get out of this. And over time, Lisa and I have noticed that what actually is needed in these moments is a whole set of like often counterintuitive skills. We call them navigational skills that are much more about the deep internal work we can't do alone. You know, we're people of faith. We believe God's doing in us, doing with, trusted crew. So this book outlines those skills, those often counterintuitive skills that we think are actually what people need in moments of change, transition, and in this life in flux.
It's really good. Lisa, what would you add to what Michaela's already said about the book?
Well, I'll just give a snippet from the book. We start with a story that's actually a story that happened to my husband when he was in high school, which, not to reveal his age, but it would have been in the late 1960s. And we spend summers on the coast of Maine, and he's done that his whole life. And he was out on a boat with a couple of buddies, pretty far away from the shore, and they were getting ready to come back into home cove, and a dense fog rolled in, and the kind of fog where you can't see your hand in front of you. And that kind of fog, if you've ever been on the water or even driving and hit that kind of fog, it's very disorienting and very disruptive. And to Michaela's point, the temptation is to like put the boat in gear and go, right? And the nature of the story is that he was tempted. He'll tell you he was tempted to do that, but his own understanding of how to get out of fog on the water kind of made him shift. And he did the counterintuitive thing, which was to cut the engine and listen, because it's the sounds that help you get back, sounds of other boats coming, the sounds of the foghorns and the bell buoys, and then just take small incremental steps. And I think that's the heart of the work. There's lots more to be said about that. We wrote a whole book about it, obviously. But at the end of the day, the temptation to move fast, we've got to do the work to slow ourselves down and really pay attention in the moment. And everything in our culture presses against that, right? Everything in our culture is pressing us towards busyness and moving fast and getting stuff done. So that, I think the book is a guide to help you make those counterintuitive moves.
That's really good. And, I've had the benefit, I didn't write it, right, but I've been reading it and have been soaking in the content of the book for months now. And I just want to encourage those of you watching to grab the book. That first example that Lisa just described, I mean, it just captures you and you are in the fog in that moment. And it's hard to just dismiss that image as you're reading the rest of the book. They keep bringing it up throughout, and it really is a great way to enter the book, to draw you into what's going on and to what's ahead. So just a reminder that that's in the book, and it's just really going to really just set you up for understanding the book well if you just give yourself over to that big metaphor that they're painting at the beginning of the book. So as we celebrate the book's release today, I'm going to ask you both a few more questions about the journey that got you here, right? Michaela, you said this is a team sport. It takes a long time to get a book to publication. So Lisa, we're going to start with you with this question.
Okay.
As you are working on this book, did you have any specific people you kept at the forefront of your mind? You don't have to say their names, but I'm just curious, were there a couple of people there, and what did you want this book to be for them?
Well, there definitely were a couple of people I had in mind. Part of my work is doing sort of the deep dive, we call it vocational stewardship work with folks. And I'm particularly called in to work with people when they're in seasons of deep transition. So this is, right at the heart of where I meet people. And I think the thing I would want to say is, you have to go down into the mess and into the hard work and into the unknowable, the unfigureoutable, as we call it in the book, before you can come begin to emerge and the new things start to come. And boy, my work is often just to keep people in the moment, step by step, because it's painful and it can be very hard. And the temptation is to want to get out of it as quickly as possible. And I've worked with enough people to doing this over, these last 20 plus years, to have some people who really have done the hard work. And now I see, 5, 7, 10 years later, what's happened in their lives because they were willing to go in and do that hard work, that inner work, which was challenging and painful and took time. Everybody wants a timeline, and there is no timeline, right? Which is very frustrating. And so I have those people in mind because I want them to be a source of encouragement to those people who might be just entering this work and stepping into it for the first time.
I love that. Yeah, Michaela, what about for you?
Yeah, I think complementary to that, and maybe even the same people, but said kind of with my Dupree executive director hat on, Meryl, I think I thought a lot about the data point from our Flourishing Leaders research that said, the very best leaders, healthy, integrated, stable leaders are people who lean in to difficult work in seasons of
Yeah.
challenge, crises, and crucibles. And for many people, change and transition are those challenges. That's where it comes up. The second group of people, the cohort of people, to use that word intentionally, ironically, are all the folks who have gone through our cohorts. So we've run 85 cohorts, right? We started with Road Ahead, built on Go the Distance, Flourishing in the Third. The particularly the Road Ahead one where we started is all it serves people in professional transition. And one of the things that we noticed early on is people might come in with a professional transition question: should I leave my job or not? And as they get into the cohort, they're asking deeper questions about their relationships, about how they're made in the image of God, and just this unpacking and this sort of layering that Lisa's talking about. So both for the people who are feeling the acute pace of transition in their lives, and for all the people who are on their way to being the kind of leaders, or maybe even right now are the kind of leaders who we desperately need. So this book is for them.
Mm. So as you reflect now on the writing and publishing process, so I mean, you all have been in this for a long time. Michaela, I remember the first conversation we had about Life in Flux and you potentially writing it with Lisa, months and months ago. But now, like from that point all the way till today, what stands out for you, Michaela, as a core memory in this journey?
Yeah, I remember, Meryl, I called you and I think 5 or 6 other people, and I said, I had been signed up to write this book for a while, and now I've got this colleague I had become a dear friend at that point, Lisa, who had said, "Hey, I kind of want to write that book with you." And and so I was like, should I bring her in on this book? She's got so much wisdom, but that sounds messy. And is that a thing? So thanks for the advice and thanks for saying yes. I All the moments that stick out to me are around the collaboration.
Yeah.
It was, we say over and over, it cost us both something, right? We both felt ourselves have to give up things. It was messy. It was hard. It was beautiful. I'm like, oh my gosh, over and over, we've said to each other, we never could have produced this book on our own, either one of us. And I just I would love for there to be lots more models of collaboration in how we do our work and how we do our work as Christians. And having gone through this process and feeling just how valuable it is and how hard, but oh, how worth it is. All of my core memories of the process are around that.
That's really sweet. Lisa, what about for you?
Yeah, I echo that for sure. I think the collaboration process was, I mean, we were intentional about stepping into it. And one of our core commitments to one another was that we wanted to still like each other when we were done and still be friends. And we kept that commitment and we worked through some hard stuff. I mean, God has a funny way about taking you into experiences when you're learning about something that takes it deeper for you. And I think that was part of what Michaela and I navigated together in our own relationship. And as we were writing the book, to say what there was cost to be paid, and we could both see, oh my goodness, this could produce something so much better than either one of us would ever be able to do on our own. And I think that's it. I think the collaboration process, which was incredibly messy and incredibly generative, both of those things. We didn't divide it up and say, okay, you write these chapters and I write these chapters. We did it in a much more, we'll call it a much more creative way that was very iterative and made it super, super hard for both of us in lots of ways. And I think it delivered a better product. And so the work of collaboration and the deep partnership that was formed as a result of it, I think, is core to what the book is all about.
Mm. Mm. So here's my last question. To the person who's totally bogged down in transition and feeling completely lost in the fog, what's one word of hope or encouragement you can give to them? Lisa, we'll start with you this time.
Oh boy, one word. I would say you don't have to go it alone, and simple, small steps help you navigate through this. So find your people and just put one foot in front of the other, and that's really the process.
Mm.
And shift from reacting to really responding to what's happening in and through you and around you.
Mm. Good. Michaela, what about you?
Yeah, it's really good. One of my favorite parts of the last couple of weeks has been whether it's early readers or people who have gotten a hold of the book or friends who have literally said, life in flux, like my life's in flux. Did you write this book for me? And I'm like, actually, yeah, we did. Like, we did write the book for you. And in that, in the amount of people, even in the last 3 weeks, who have said that to me, the thing I have said to them is, you're not alone. Like, you're not alone, and you're not making this up. And this is possible. Maybe what I would end with is, when you write a book, you like get endorsements from people who are like, they like know things, and you're grateful for it. I'm so grateful for all of our endorsers. My favorite endorsement is one that's not in the book. And my mom has been a counselor for 30 years. And she said to me just the other day, she said, Michaela, I loved your last book. It was great. It was great. She's like, and this one, it's really going to help people. It's really going to help people. And so I would say, like, you're not alone. And I think there's actually, like, some tools in here that are good and can do the kind of things that Lisa just talked about.
It's really good. Well, Michaela and Lisa, it's a huge day. Thanks so much for allowing us to celebrate with you here in this digital space today. To those of you watching, thanks so much for tuning in. You can purchase your copy today. You want to head over to dupree.org where you'll see some different links to some different purchasing options. We've got a link out to Baker, which is the publisher. We've got a link out to Amazon. I imagine you could find it at some other retailers close to you. Also, today we have a brand new companion resource to Life in Flux that Lisa and Michaela have developed to go with the book. It's awesome. You're going to love it. It's a free ebook called Navigating Change with the Enneagram. You can get that for free. Just come on over to dupree.org, get the free download when you sign up for our email list. And you are going to love this. If you're somebody who's a fan of the Enneagram and likes to do your inner work around your number, even if you're new to the Enneagram and you are like, oh, what is she talking about? Read it, because Lisa and Michaela give this great intro to the Enneagram at the beginning of the ebook. And it's just a great way where you can dive in and start to do some of that inner work that they talk about in the book that is so necessary for navigating life in flux. Also, if you want to connect with Michaela and Lisa, you can do so at lifeinflux.co. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great day. We hope you love the book.